Hey guys, my name's Matthias and welcome to the Deadside 0.1.7 update for June, where I'm going to show you guys everything that this update has given us, including the scopes, the new base building with the code locks, and what will lengthen this video a bit there is that because of the sounds, I recorded every single gun in the game to show you guys what it sounds like and what the animations look like, so that you can have a better idea of what you would like to buy, while you are playing, in case you don't know what certain gun sounds like. Because to me personally, because there isn't a major damage variation from gun to gun, I really like choosing a gun that really sounds cool and helps me to immerse myself. So all of us, will have different sounds that we like. Now, part of the update is the private servers that have been updated. So now on private servers, we can choose how large clans are. Now 5 is the maximum, but you can limit the clan sizes on your servers now. And like you can see on my server, it's a solo server for solo players only, so I set that down to 1. And they fix the restarts on private servers so that it gives you a warning this time, before the server restarts, which is really, really good because, it upset a few people, when they're busy with a mission and the server hasn't warned them, and then, the server just restarts abruptly. So that really helped them. So private servers have a lot of options, like I've told you guys before. If you don't trust admins or you can't find a server that you really like, but you've got a bunch of friends that you want to play with, a 10 slot server on Gportal is about $10. Okay, so it doesn't cost a lot, gives you a lot of control. And of course, if you know the admin and you guys can trust each other, then it's great. Of course, on the server you can spawn every single item in the game, okay, to test it out. And when it comes to the equipment, you will see here that Deadside has a heck of a lot of clothing and helmets and armors, okay, which you can't find in the safe zones, but which you can find in the world and in missions, okay. So there's a lot of cool gear that you can collect, which makes, going after missions quite a good idea. And you can look really cool if you can survive for very long, or you can collect these items, put them in your base, and when you've collected the entire set, it will help you a lot. Of course, you've got message of the days, and different messages. And then the best thing is now the server saves all the kills for the last 30 days, which you can download, okay? So you and your friends can compete with one another and have score sheets. And at the end of the month, you can brag with who killed who the most. And just a nice fun element for guys with big servers. They can have prizes and stuff like this. So this is the first 9mm gun. And then this is of course the second basic pistol that you get. If you want to skip this, I will have timestamps down below. Like I said, the sounds were the biggest thing for me in this update. The scopes are good, but the sounds really made a big impression on me. And the Beretta, in my opinion, definitely sounds the coolest. Got a nice thump to it. The iron sight, is nice and clear. And I've seen that if I put, the player or the guy's head on the dot on the iron sight, it's quite accurate. And then, of course, the C19, the .45. Still trying to make my mind up between the two, because both the Beretta definitely sounds cooler, but the C19 reloads quicker. And we know that, you know, it does the most damage per bullet. And then this is the new pistol that they brought in. Fires 20 rounds, where the Beretta only fires 15 rounds. Sounds cool. I'm just not crazy about the way it looks like, you know, in first person. Since my server is first person only, I just set it to third person for this video. And of course the sawed-off shotgun. And yes guys, if your animations, you know, look weird, it's only after you've bought the gun. Only when you find the gun, it's only the first animation, okay, that will be a bit buggy. All the reloads after that will be perfect. Of course, a normal double barrel shotgun. Definitely sounds way cooler. Pump action shotgun, one of my favorites in the beginning, you know, one of my favorite shotguns when I start. The 5 shots really make a major difference, and you can get an extended mag that allows you to have more rounds that you can fire, and that can be the difference between life and death a lot of the time. Then of course we've got the tier 3 shotgun. And yeah, again, more rounds. Basically the same time between shots as the double barrel, okay? Only difference being you can fire 10 times. Which again, can be the difference between life and death. So yeah, definitely a nice shotgun to have at the beginning. And then the big daddy, the N4. This is where you clear everything in front of you. Only 7 shots, boys, but you can cover a lot of ground in 7 shots. And reloads quite quickly. And looks awesome as well. Then we've got the Scorp. Didn't really interest me in the beginning. But now it definitely does. Definitely sounds better for me. And the recoil, again with SMGs, are very, very good. Got the MP5. And again, watch the recoil, boys. My recoil isn't good, but just watch the recoil. You can stay on target with 30 rounds. So the SMGs are definitely good for recoil control. Very minimal recoil. Then the UMR, again one of my favorites because the .45 ammo. And it sounds cooler as well. I don't know if the fire rate was that slow, but it definitely sounds cool. And again, you can control the recoil quite easily. And it can take a sight, of course. P90, boys. Minimum recoil as well. 50 shots. Definitely a really cool weapon. Then we've got the AK-47U. All of the AKs you will see, it's not difficult to control the recoil, but you will see the iron sight jumping around. And of course there is quite a bit of recoil, but just look at the iron sight jumping around. So at a distance it is quite difficult to stay on target. as you can see, it's, you know, it's going left, right, up, down. So close range, yes. Long range, you'll definitely have to put it on single shot at a long range. And then the AR4, definitely softer than what it used to be. Don't really like what they did to this one. I feel it sounded better, you know, before the update. So I was a bit disappointed, but of course, still a very good gun. And then the S85, the beginner's secret weapon. Only sniper rifle that has no weaving when you crouch. Okay, definitely puts it apart. But we did do tests, and it's losing damage at a distance. Mosin sounds awesome. Still as powerful as ever. This is the Mosin K, of course, which you can't put a sight on. Okay? And if you want to see the damage stats of every weapon and the changes that I am noticing, you can just click that subscribe button and that bell notification to be notified on my next video. I will be going over all the new damage stats. And I definitely noticed the difference on the S85, so we're gonna look into that. This Mosin that can take a sight, definitely a new favorite of mine. Definitely sounds better than the Mosin K, so I'm really a fan. And as we all know, it's quite easy to get this gun at any military point in the towers. The VSD, most powerful gun in the game by far. I don't really like the way it looks in first person, but with the sights, that's not something that bothers me anymore. Extremely, extremely powerful weapon. And the rate of fire makes it a big killer. This is the first new gun that came with a new update. It doesn't sound too bad at all. Again, falls around a lot. Okay, it looks cool, but it falls around a lot, so I'd compare it to an AK and an AK. And an AK-47U. And of course, quite a bit of recoil. This bad boy, I'm falling in love with slowly but surely. Definitely sounds really nice. Really sounds nice. But again, it's got that same jitter. You know, that same... It's very difficult to control it at a distance. And about the same recoil. And then we've got the bad boy, the Groza, that can't take a sight. But holy shit, does it sound cool, boys. And it's the only gun where I can notice the gun pulling back. That forwards and backwards motion when you fire the gun is really cool. And then the AUG, my new favorite. Uses the same ammunition as the AR4, and I'm sorry, but the AR4 is not my favorite anymore. Excuse my language, but this fucking gun rocks. And then yes, the grenade launcher. Nothing feathery about those grenades, boys. They travel. Really far. Okay? So yes, extremely cool. Unfortunately, this is where the realism takes a dip. Now what I'm showing you guys here is that if you aim at, if you use the aimer, it's very easy to shoot a target at 50 meters because that tree is 50 meters away. And if you go 100 meters away, then you're just going to use this basically aimer here, and you're going to look at the top of the tree and put your iron sight at the top of the tree. There it wasn't really at the top, so it just fell before the tree, okay? But I'm going to look at the top of the plating again, and I'm going to put my iron sight on the top of the plating to get an exact hit on the tree, okay? So the whole plate, the whole plating for the distance, the length of it gives you an extra 50 meters. So if you calculate double that, I hit the tree, I hit the tree on target. So if you go double the height, you shoot 150 meters. So every length of this height indicator gives you extra 50 meters if you use it, as an indicator. Is it cool? It's extremely cool. Is it very powerful? Yes, but it costs 200,000, which is the most expensive gun in the game, and every round costs 6,000. Okay. Now, what you must remember is a grenade can kill anyone in the vicinity that the grenade lands. It suffers due to range, but this grenade launcher doesn't suffer due to range. Unfortunately, guys, the realism is... I'm not happy with the realism because this grenade launcher can't kill you even if you've got no armor on you. Now here I've got the level 3 helmet on me, okay? But I've still got 24 health left. And in the second shot I'm going to show you, what health I've got left with absolutely no armor on me. I just fire it straight up in the air and it will land on top of you exactly. So it's like a perfect shot if someone else had to shoot you. And I've tested this on AI. I've shot AI point blank and they don't die. So I understand that the developers don't want this grenade launcher to, be OP or, overused or whatever the case may be. But it is expensive. And at the end of the day, like I've got nothing on me, 10 health left. Okay, at the end of the day, it's not worth buying a gun for 200,000 and then, buying rounds for 6,000 if you can't kill a person with one shot, especially if the person has got no armor on them. So I hope they change it so that it can kill a person with no armor on, and then they can do calculations on both the helmet and the vest to mitigate, the grenade damage a bit. But for AI and, unarmored players, they have to change it, guys. That breaks the realism. Who can take a grenade launch in the face and not die? And then, here is the scopes that all of you have been waiting for. They are very OP against AI, okay? You can see how big that guy is, how clearly I can see everyone, and I'm quite far away. And later I'm going to show you that I'm, way up the hill, where I literally can't see the AIs. They don't really spawn in, but when I use the scope, they do spawn in and I can kill them. Unfortunately, all the snipers have got sway, whether you're standing or whether you're crouching, okay? Still got sway. You're still gonna have to fire on reaction, and you're gonna be you're gonna have to be very good with your timing. But I'm not gonna show you all the scopes. This one that I'm using is called the HMR, and it's one of my favorites. And basically, just the one scope can only be attached to the AKs and the PP19, I think, and the SVD. Okay, so there's only one scope that is especially designed for the AKs and the VSD, or in this game the SVD. But I'm not crazy about the reticles, or the dots, or the way you're aiming. I'm not really a fan of the little arrow, so I like the dot, where I can exactly see where the shot's gonna go. As you can see, the sway still affects you, but all the sights zoom are 4x scopes, except for the one scope. That's a 3.5 scope. Okay, but as you guys can see, that is a very long distance. I can shoot people coming into the mission zone from the other side. Okay, and yeah, as you can see, it's very difficult for me to see the AI, with the red dots. I can't basically see anything, and then when I zoom in, I can shoot them. And yes, so it's definitely what all of you have been waiting for. I think in 8 times will be very won't be fun at all. Maybe for you guys, that once proning in the game, that you can snipe people from across the map. This is a very, very good distance for me. And yeah, if you're in the open, the AI come after you, but I finished this mission quite easily, and most of the time they won't detect you because you are just way too far away. Okay, so unfortunately, the AI outside a mission area is done for. The only danger that you're going to have is basically inside. And here I'm going to show you that the grenade launch is very underpowered. That's the first shot right behind him. That's the second shot right behind him. So it's got a very small range. And only with the third shot, I kill him. Okay? So yeah, basically it takes 2 very close shots with a grenade launcher to kill an AI. And you can see there, I was quite close. So the spread of this grenade launchers seems smaller than even a normal grenade. So yes, I hope, I really hope they change the damage. But this was a hard mission, and in the hard mission I got a Groza and my favorite sight that I'm using. And in my backpack you can see all 4 sights. They cost more or less the same, so it doesn't really matter which one you buy, guys. When you want to buy it, just make sure your sights of the gun that you want to use it on highlights, so that you're sure you will be able to use it. But in my personal opinion, the HMR is a great starting one. Okay, you can always go to the other one later. And then yeah, right here we're just looking at the code lock for the bases, which will help clans, of course. It's not really that important for solo players, but I think it's a nice addition, for friends that want access to each other's bases, or if 4 players helps one another to build a massive base, it's perfect for them to share the base. I just don't know what they will do with with the system that they've got at the moment. It doesn't really matter, because you can't spawn at your base, so basically now that you've got the code lock, you've got the same right, as the guy who put down the plot sign. So it's a great addition for squads, and if you're if you don't want your team members to have access to your base, then the code lock isn't really, something that you're interested in. But I do feel it's a nice addition and quite cool. And yeah, once you put in the code, then you can always open the door. You don't need to put the code in again. And you will see when I test it now, you can't guess wrong more than 3 times. Otherwise, the keypad locks itself for 10 minutes. Okay, so you make sure you write down the code. Okay, don't forget it. Write it down on a piece of paper. Make it your favorite number. And of course, you can put up to 10 numbers in there. Okay, but remember, if somebody's trying to guess codes, they can only guess 3 times. Then it gets locked for 10 minutes. Okay, so yeah, just make sure that you don't forget the code. Okay, otherwise you're going to lock yourself out of your own base and your clan mates. So make sure you put some thought into that. But yeah, I think it's a nice addition. Again, I feel they're moving in the right direction. I'm absolutely crazy about everything, and I had some really good fights on official servers, and of course they added 7. They said 7, but I don't think I saw 7, but they added first person only servers, which is fantastic for me. What was a bit disappointed that the people didn't fill up the first person servers like I was expecting them to. But yeah, hopefully, we can get those servers full for the hardcore boys that, loves real battles instead of, looking at each other from behind a wall. And yeah, overall, fantastic. Even the radio has got new sounds, and then of course there's a lot of assets that have been placed all over the map. Like at the military zone, there's much more. There's now new tanks standing there and sandbags to give you guys a lot more cover in fights. And at most of the missions, they just added a few assets. And of course, there's trains on the train tracks, which doesn't really do anything. It just doesn't make it feel so empty. And of course, you can use it as cover, which is very important. Okay, otherwise, if the train isn't there, you've got no cover if somebody wants to snipe you. So yes, the assets that they placed on the map helps a heck of a lot, especially with the scopes. Okay, so that people can't just camp every single open area, and try and kill anyone that runs over there. You've got a few options, to hide from a guy that has a scope. And yes, the scopes are very, very powerful. And yeah, I'm actually glad. I don't think they should add an 8 times, because at the moment you can't hear a gunshot further than 300 meters away. Okay, so, and you can kill people now at further than 300 meters. Okay, so I've been shot where I didn't even hear the sound. Okay, it's like the guy has a suppressor. So I'd like them to extend that sound, especially on sniper rifles like Mosins. You're supposed to hear that from a mile away. And then, yeah, maybe a 2-time scope, maybe they can add a 2-time scope or a 3-time scope. Maybe a 6-time scope at max, but I don't think they need to go further than what they've gone at the moment. And I think everyone will be happy that wanted scopes, because the main problem was that, you couldn't, people were too small. And of course, here's the fire, which you can put everywhere in the world. And yeah, it's just nice for immersion. And yeah, put a fire down in the forest. And that's it, boys. If you like this video, click the like button. And like I said, I'll be covering the damage stats in the next video. So just click that subscribe button, that bell button, to be notified of my next video. Have fun and have a fantastic freaking weekend.